Hey guys, what's poppin'? Roshi is here. Exciting news from the Direwolf devs. We are having 84 cards added to the Expedition format. This is a game changer. Um, there are so many, a lot of really solid cards being added. This is definitely going to shake the format up. A lot of them I'm pretty excited to play with. It doesn't seem like anything's too disgusting, but you know what? We're going to go through line by line, card by card, talk about it, see if it's, more of a draft inclusion, or if potentially this could be a card that'll be played or see some sort of at least fringe play in the Expedition format. So gear up for a longer video. We're going to be cruising through this. If you find this content interesting, drop a subscription to me on YouTube. It means a lot. Hop in my Discord, hop on the stream. Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays are my targets, and occasionally on the weekends. Usually stream from 8 p.m. to midnight. Enough BS, let's just get into it. First card, Abyssal Scrying. Draw cards equal to the highest relic cost, or the highest cost among your relics. This will see play if anyone's playing some spicy World Pyre decks. This can end up drawing you 4 cards in the World Pyre deck, and maybe more if you're playing some other big relics. Not too many big relics, though. I don't see this being a huge shakeup. We have other options that also draw cards, but spending 6 power to draw 4 can be quite strong, so we'll see if this does anything. Next up, we've got Acantha's Outrider. Not really a huge constructed card. This is definitely a draft card, but Pledge is good. A 3 power 3/3 with flying is okay. It's a lot better when it silences your guys, but hey, you can't win them all. Ancient of the Ice Caves. I actually had this card in one of my Mandrake Ultimate lists. The Merriest Mandrake. This was one of the decks I actually had set up before the last actual set came out. And it was really solid, so I'm happy to see this guy make it back into Expedition. Look to play this card with stuff like Dizo's Ruin, Dick Rose, the one that pings your opponent for 1, that card. Also combos quite nicely with the Merriest Mandrake. Sometimes that deck can run out of gas, so flipping your hand can be great. We've also got a lot of Graveyard Matters cards right now. We've got, Shoaling Shore, or the Mandrake one, bring back 2 guys. I don't know why, I just can't remember any names at all right now. I don't know what's wrong with me. But then there's the Fate guy that, you take a bunch of damage and then you get to put a guy back from your Void into play. Feel free to make fun of me in the comments and tell me the actual names of these cards. But for now, they are called Fate Guy and Shoaly Mandrake Reanimator card. So that's the name I'm going with. Antique Polisher. I like this card. Used to play this all the time in Crown of Possibilities lists. Definitely has some potential. I'm not sure there's really enough relics to really pump this in, or any high value ones. It seems like a lot of the converted mana cost of relics is kind of on the lower side, so I don't really know what you're going to be buffing. But it could be a nice tempo play. It is an Explorer, so this could fit right into some different Sentinel decks as more of a tempo card. You could use this to make that 3-drop relic. Once again, I don't know names today, but 3-drop relic, deal 3 damage, and then buff your Sentinels. Well, if that's 1 power, I mean, that's Torch at that point, so that's cool. Instigator, I don't like this card, but lots of people do. Play this in your aggro decks, you'll win some games. Assembly Line, this is actually huge. This could make the Grenadine deck actually, I don't want to say viable, because it was already somewhat fringe playable, but this should push it up into a real deck. You're going to win more games now. This 1 card, and it just immediately triggers Align the Tesseract. You no longer need to play like a billion 1-drops to pull it off. You could play like more of a slower controlling Grenadine list and slam Assembly Line and just dump it into play, and there you go. You're right there. There's the other Grenadine maker that also could fill this role. So you could see Grenadine decks that just play these cards that make 3 Grenadine, and then immediately sacrifices them and spits out Align the Tesseract, and then you can fill with more burn and more removal and all that fun stuff. Auric Bully, not going to see constructed play most likely unless there's a Minotaur deck, but I don't think there is one. This is a draft card. Avagraft. This is spicy. I don't think we have enough curses to really make a curse deck, but solid removal, we'll take it. Biting Winds, this is a draft card. Blood Sunstaffed, probably also a draft card. Relics that don't do anything when they enter play are usually very quickly punished quite heavily by any removal, so probably won't be seeing any of this. Book Club Yeti, this has always been fringe playable. If you have any relics, you could play this in your deck. Probably a draft card, though. Yeah, if you're playing relics, though, maybe consider it as just like an extra removal spell, but it's very conditional, and I think there's better options for you in Primal. Bren the Archmagister, this is a lot better when it's tacked onto the site. We'll just say that. Maybe there's some sort of combo deck that wants to pop off with Bren, but I highly doubt it's better than any of the other combo decks we have, so probably not going to do anything. But, you know, if you're drafting, sure, you'll probably take an overcosted 5/5. So, next up, speaking of overcosted 5/5s, we've got Burspore Thern, Aegis, Overwhelm, and his ability is actually super strong. Kind of cool that this is a Mandrake as well. So maybe people are going to reanimate this in a Mandrake list? I don't know. But if you ever get its ability off and you've got a significant amount of spells, it can be pretty game-ending. So look out for this card. It might actually see some play. It's also a pretty solid game winner in draft as well. Sensari Brigand. Hooray for aggro. This will give some of the aggro decks in the format more just charge ways to force through damage. Lots of fun, lots of skill. We'll move right along. Change Stick. Unless there's a Spellcraft deck, I don't really see this seeing play. I don't think we have any of the Spellcraft cards. So no enablers for this. So probably a draft change. Clan Hunt Caller. Yeah, this is a draft card. You could get a massive Warcry off, but those stats, yeah, we'll move along. Crown Watch Recruiter, definitely a draft card. Scroll down a bit. Crystalline Chalice. This is actually pretty interesting. I think Expedition might actually be slow enough that we could see some Chalice decks popping around. It's been a long time, but it buffs, it draws cards. That might be, that might be a good endgame strategy or market card for quite a few decks. So definitely look out for some Chalices coming out of people's markets. Disassembler, another very solid Grenadine. This with Assembly Line could actually leave us with an aggro Grenadine list as well, which is cool. We got the entire display cycle. I probably don't need to go through these. They're extremely powerful. This is the other 5 displays. I think we had the first 5 already in the format. This will just kind of round those out. I don't think 3 faction decks are really that viable right now in Expedition. The power base is going to be kind of crap. But maybe like Display of Creation can be doable because it helps fix your power. But yeah, 3 factions kind of a stretch right now, but if you are playing it, these displays will be good sideboard cards or good mainboard cards. Some of these are quite main deckable, like Display of Knowledge. But yeah, we'll keep cruising. Duelist Blade, fantastic control card. Gives you Aegis, gives you health, gives you toughness. Good way to clear like sticky units with Aegis off the board. So this will definitely see at least some amount of play. It's always been around in control decks, and I imagine it will be decent at that. Eileen's Choice, just solid removal. Can also counter some spells, but a lot of the spells in this format are like 3 or less that you want to counter. Like You're not going to be able to counter and equalize with this, so um, pretty sure you'll just be playing this for the instant speed removal. Not sure though. Maybe there's some other cases where it's viable, but I'm a little dubious of that. Elaz's choice: 2 power, shrink the board, or get some armor. I don't think this is seeing any play unless you're playing like an Armor Matters deck. I think there's better options for wiping the board otherwise, but we'll move along. Swindler. Now, this is a card. Not really sure we have all of the enablers in the format to really be abusing this, but I think it's the Stormhalt Knife this card's excellent with, because if you're at less than 10 health, you can actually, even if you're not playing the knife, or the Kellers for the knife, you can just put it in play. But, yeah, maybe we can put, like, Hourglass in play or something with this, so it won't be terrible. Machinations. This card's huge. It kind of enables Xenon to play, like, an early game strategy and then, like, bring back all your Aleds or your early game, like, bring back all these guys that maybe you've buffed with Killer or buffed other ways, and they all come back, they all get bigger, they all get overwhelmed, and oftentimes the first one, if that doesn't close out the game, as you keep doing it, these minions just keep getting bigger and bigger and more out of hand and more value. So yeah, I'm all about it. Xenon will like this. Especially, one thing to keep in mind is this fits straight into Mandrakes, like just right in there. I think if you're playing a fire deck, you're gonna want to be playing Flash Fry. Otherwise, I'm not really sure how you're supposed to stop some of these Mandrake assaults. You know, they're gonna play out all these early ones, twos, and threes, fill their graveyard, and then just early on, because they can ramp into this, they're gonna fire off a fat machination and just completely reload the board. Expect to see this in markets. Expect to see it in main decks. It's going to crush some faces. Eye of Winter. Now, I talked earlier about how there weren't a lot of options with Elvish Swindler. Here's an option. This is a great if you're playing decks with board wipes. There really aren't that many decks with board wipes right now, but there is Equalize, so you could use this to like slow things down until you're able to slam a fat board wipe. Yeah, not a lot else to say here. I don't think the Stun Soldier decks are going to care enough to play this, but I could see like a slower Soldier deck that like plays Eye of Winter, and then when you're at 6 power, you stun something, and then on the next turn you stun something else. The first thing's still stunned, and then you spend another 4 power and play Tactical Superiority, and you'll get 2 extra kills that way. Draw some cards maybe. So I could see something like that, but that might be a little too slow for what soldiers I think are trying to do, but it is an option. Fearbinder. Mouse is super sensitive. Fearbinder is pretty solid against any sort of like, any sort of sacrifice deck will be okay with playing Fearbinder. But yeah, it's not too great. This probably is more of a draft card. Field Captain, draft card. Flametail Whip makes a ton of fodder, but I don't really think fodder matters that much. Maybe if they're a Grenadine, so probably a draft card. GMR, very fantastic beater, gets really out of hand really fast. Good way for Valkyrie decks to stabilize against aggro. So I definitely could see this seeing some play. Grave Marker Oni, a little slow. If you're trying to chain weapons, though, this might be one of the only options we have in the format. So there's that. Headman's Axe. That's a draft card. Heart of the Vault. This is exciting. Sentinels really needed some sort of like mid-range card that helps them draw. Pretty sure we have Wasteland Broker in the format, so this is one of my favorite cards to broker into your deck. They'll all be on top of your library, ready for you to warp them into play and just get like quadruple value out of them. Even if you're not doing that, this card slots right into any sort of Sentinel Reanimator deck you're playing. I think if you're playing any sort of Sentinel deck, unless it's like aggro, balls to the wall Sentinel, you're really happy to have Heart of the Vault. It's going to replace some of the worst cards. And this will also slide right into Sling decks if they're playing these Kellers. So look out for that. Heartstopper, I don't really think there's a mill deck in the format, but you could play this with Exploit. You could play it with that 1 power Mandrake that discards. There's Fatal Footsteps or Fatal Step or whatever, and that makes people discard. So there is enough discard for it. Whether that's worth playing kind of a very vulnerable 3/4 flyer, I don't know. But there could be a deck there, like a discard deck, and this card would be the reason to play it. So maybe. Horde Leader, this is a draft card. Aigen's Choice, it gives Rakano a way to kill an attachment on an enemy. But you can't kill any attachments that are on you, so it doesn't kill any curses. And just having a 4/4 weapon isn't great, so I'm not sure how much play this will really see. But we'll move along. Infernal Tyrant, this has seen play in the past in my decks. Really love this card in Sling. If you're playing these factions in your Sling deck, definitely look to consider including Infernal Tyrant. It'll come down, it'll gain 6 life, and then it'll ping all the stuff on your board and gain you even more life if you've got a board. This is definitely the way to just house aggro. Play 4 of these in your Sling decks, you won't regret it. And I don't really see it seeing too much play in anything else. In the past, it was in combo Reanimator decks, but I think those days are long gone, unfortunately, and it's time to move on. Inner Peace Ascendant, this is seen play in combo Relic decks. Potentially could see play in like a Sentinel Reanimator, but I doubt it. Macto will always be around to give the slap toe. Very solid beater. I'm sure Argenport players are happy to see this. Valkyrie players are happy to see this. Definitely look out. Make sure you're playing ways to silence this Macto or deal with this Macto, because he'll probably be out in full force once these changes go live, actually tomorrow. So exciting stuff. Next up, Into the Furnace. Actually could be a viable card. There's a Grenadine deck, and it definitely is going to have Grenadines in the Void, so 2 power, deal 4 damage that's an actual rate, and just dealing 2 damage can be fine early on. So maybe maybe Into the Furnace time has come. Iron Fist Faithful, I really don't think Valkyries were really needing a mediocre 1-drop that much, but if they were, they got it. I'm assuming this is a draft card, though. Caleb's Choice, conditional removal, conditional counterspell. We'll take it. I'm sure that'll be a market card. Night of Sorrow. This can be a fat way to gain life. I highly doubt it's going to see play, but I could see a world where you play this in Tribute against aggro and they just leave the game. So there's that. Knight Chancellor Seraph. This gives Combray another fantastic way to close out games that they didn't have before. We've got plenty of ways to ramp in Combray right now, so this is a huge payoff and also a very solid body for the early game. So this could shake things up, and maybe we'll see Combray in the future. Muting my phone, lol. Coastal Elite, your weapons that can be played on units are fast. I don't think this has seen play before, and I don't think that's going to change. but feel free to prove me wrong. This is a draft card. Coastal Recruit, draft card. Lethrai Courtier, this is huge. I saw that we also got Lethrai Lobotomy, so I'll talk about these together. This is one of the cards these both are cards I'm very excited for. We're able to now play a Relic Sacrifice deck, and you've probably seen my deck text on this before, but I'll scroll down, and they actually printed some of these enablers. So we have Waystone Gate in the format, and you can use your Lobotomy to sacrifice this, or you can use Clear a Path and sacrifice this and just dump an 8/8 into play, and it'll also give you some fixing in the meantime while you wait till you get there. Between Courtier and Lobotomy, that's almost the whole deck. So yeah, look out for that. Lucky Prospector, undercosted Explorer that can get quite fat. Yeah, I could see it. 1 power, 3/3 with Endurance. Seems alright. If you can curve straight into a Relic, that's a lot of beats and a lot of damage. Mortar, 4 power, 4 damage. They printed a card that was 3 mana that did this, and his name was Jack. And he was good. But he did 4 damage to 2 things. So this is half that and doesn't have a body. But probably a draft card. We'll move on. Scoundrel. Could be a world where you're playing like a super aggressive Scoundrel deck, but I doubt it. Oniologist, this is a draft card. Pillar of Dreams, probably a draft card. You could get spicy and throw this in like a token list, but that has a lot of power and not a lot of effect on the board right away, so definitely goes in the draft pile. Purify is a very solid removal spell. Definitely a draft card, but definitely going to see play in Expedition. If you're playing like a Praxis tokens list, look out for this. It's basically Flash Fries 5 through 8. So Praxis Sentinels and Praxis tokens, they're going to have some really solid burn options. Almost too many to play them all, honestly. Quicksilver Mirror, fantastic top end. I think earlier I was talking about Abyssal Scrying and how there weren't a lot of top end relics. Maybe this could be the top end relic. Yeah, it's just you play this and win the game eventually, probably. So look out for this. Make sure you're playing your transposes to protect it. Rock Slide, it gives some much needed board ways to deal with like low to the ground decks and tons of guys. If you're playing any sort of spell damage buffs, hint Grenadine, hint. Rock Slide will be good. So I definitely see this seeing at least some sideboard or main deck play for sure. Runic Revolver, this is that is a draft card. Sadistic Glee, probably a draft card. I don't think we have a mill deck just yet, but if there was one, maybe. Sadistic Ritualist. This has always been kind of fringe playable. The fact that it has Pledge helps, but its ability is so expensive. Being a 1/4 kind of redeems it. It can like slow down aggro a bit, but a lot of the aggro decks these days are just playing big, beefy guys like Basher and stuff on 3 and like 6/4s. It's even less realistic for this card to be doing anything now than then. So I think that's all to say on that. Savagery, this is huge. Lot of decks will be happy to see Savagery. It's a great way to push through damage and give surprise overwhelm to things that shouldn't have overwhelm, and slap this in your market and you'll just get lethals out of nowhere. And then if you're able to start reanimating those creatures, they'll come back and they'll still have killer and overwhelm. So a lot of value to be had with this card. Shard of the Spire. I don't know if we have Yorja, if the other half of this card in the format, but It doesn't look like we do, so I don't think we'll see any Shard of the Spire decks. But don't let me stop you. Shield Bash. I mean, there is a stun deck in the format, but I really doubt that this will see play in that. Maybe in draft, though. Purge Leader, this is draft all over it. Draft. Sodi's Choice has not really seen that much play at all, so this is one of those draft cards that gets past you on pick 15 and you still feel bad about taking it. Spore Breath, probably a draft card, unless you're like heavy on the tokens, and even then, I don't know why you'd be playing this. In Shadow, at least, you'd play like Annihilate or something else. Staff of Speed, I don't think there's a Spellcraft deck right now, so that'll be a no from me. If you need a 1 power way to break a Permafrost, though, this is it. Put it in your market. Whether that's good or not is not not clear. This guy has pretty good butt. Can close out games and give you tons of armor, but I don't think there's enough Armor Matters cards right now for this to really be seeing play. Succumb. If you're playing a mill deck, this fits quite nicely in. If not, well, it's a very expensive removal spell and gives your opponent the choice of sacrificing a 1/1 instead of their good guy, so I don't see it. Surveiller, this is draft. Talir's Choice. You know, this has seen play in the past, but I'm going to go ahead and say this is a draft card right now. Temple Shihan, this is actually solid. Slamming a curse on something and giving things flying can be a great way to close out games. And this guy does both of those things. Tunneling Gargantua is kind of a meme. I think it's a draft card. But, you know, if you have that Quicksilver Mirror in play and you start copying your Tunneling Gargantua, that's pretty funny. It's a lot of boxes to check to pull that off, though. Twilight Raptor, fantastic beater for fine. This could make a more aggressive fine list be possible now, which is fine. Vizier's Tablet, yeah, we'll move along. This is another one of those draft cards that just gets passed all the way around, and then you feel bad about picking it on pack 15. Wanderlust Kieran, another draft card here. Warrant Officer, it's a soldier that stuns, so there's a chance. There's a chance it sees play, so there's that. Waystone Gate, talked about it. I'm excited for this. Cupbearer, draft card, and last but not least, okay, last but still least, another draft card. So that's it. I did not go through this list to see if there's any new stuff. I'm pretty sure these are all the same, but yeah, exciting stuff. Looking forward to playing some Expedition here in the future. And thanks for watching, guys. I know I rambled on for 30 minutes. If you made it this far, let me know in the comments what change and deck you're excited to play. And I'll see you guys around.